Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I'm your host, Adri Plaizier, and today we have a very special guest, University of Alberta business alumni, former member of the Delta Chi Fraternity, and one of my best friends, Adri Plaizier. And we are live here with Adri Plaizier. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Advin.
Man, Adri, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 22 years old from Sherwood Park. We went to Archbishop Jordan together. High school, graduated 2019.
Right.
And then right after, I went to the University of Alberta for business, as you mentioned, and then I just finished up in December. So
Nice. So how's life been after school, man? You miss it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's been kind of boring just looking for a job and stuff. It's interesting to be in a position where, like, for the first time, I don't exactly have a specified thing to do in my life, because it's always just been like you go to school.
Right. What would when you started off at University of Alberta, did you know what you wanted to do?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, like, from in grade 11 or 12, I knew that I wanted to go into business, because I kind of didn't know what wanted to do at the beginning of high school, and I always sort of had a liking for it, and then I realized I wanted to go in economics originally, but I didn't I heard that wasn't, like, of the best degree into, and then I realized I wanted to go into business anyway, so I got, like, pre-accepted applied from in grade 12 when you apply for university, so just had to do a prerequisite year. So I definitely knew what I wanted to do right when I started university.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people, they change their programs, right? Like 2 years in, 3 years in even. Like, how come you knew?
I guess also because business is, like, a very broad thing. Like, it's the same thing as, like, saying I'm going into science or I'm going into arts. It's there's like a million, not a million, but there's like 10 or 12 different like smaller categories, sub-majors, or like your major or minor that you can take. So I still had a couple of years to figure that out. Like, you do I did my prerequisite year, which they changed, so you don't have to do that anymore. And then you do another year of, like, start actually taking real business classes, and then you don't actually decide your, like, major until your third year. So I had some time to, like, decide what my more specific major is. I just had to know the program.
Right, and there's no rush in that, right? Do you recommend, for people that don't know what they want to do, what do you recommend? Do you recommend they just go into business or go into arts or, like, open studies, I know, or a gap year?
Yeah, you can do any of those things. I never really thought exactly, but I guess you might probably just take, like, open studies with generic classes or take a gap year. Because depending on what you want to do, like, I feel like you should probably take a gap year if you have absolutely no idea. Like, if you want to do if you don't know if you want to do engineering, science, arts, business, like, if you don't have any idea. But if you have, like, I'm split between doing, like, an arts degree or a science degree, it wouldn't hurt to just take, like, a couple, like, open studies, take a couple classes each semester of, like, just basic, like, English classes or, like, economics classes or something that could, like, apply to both of your degree, like, whatever you want to do, like.
And what do these open studies teach you?
Well, I don't know exactly. I've never been in open studies. I think it's just like.
Well, I know it's that you take an intro for certain things, right? Now, is this a good representation? I'd like to say you want to get into psychology or business. Would the introduction to that kind of encompass what the program's going to be like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, the 100 level classes are very like the like, further classes. I definitely think, like, everyone should take at least, like, especially, like, English 103, which is like basically teaches you how to write a research essay. I think everyone in university should take that class. Right. And then just other kind of basic classes will get you a taste and dip your feet into what university's like.
Right.
But it's not exactly the same. Like, for example, you can't actually take any business classes in your first year. They're, like, exclusively second year classes.
Right. And you mentioned LA, man. For intro classes in uni.
Yeah.
But those are just, they're a lot easier than the ones we had in high school, eh? Do you remember those reading comps?
I like the reading comps.
What? You were good at them?
Yeah, they were like the best thing I was good at in high school. Like, okay. I did better at reading.
This guy's just bred differently. Yeah, no, everybody just hated those reading comps, man.
But they were the easiest tests.
What?
You had to do the least amount of work for them.
I got 40 in grade 12, 30-1.
I don't remember what I got on the diploma.
You probably did pretty good.
I don't think I did bad. It was better than writing the essays.
Yeah. Let's talk about Delta Chi and what it's like being a part of a fraternity, a brotherhood, right? But what was that like, and what drew you into Delta Chi?
Well, it was a lot of different things. I was kind of lonely in my first year, and I didn't that's one thing I'd really recommend in your first year is like look into clubs, join clubs. Even if I would recommend joining Greek life, which means like joining a fraternity or sorority, but even if you don't do that, you should definitely join some clubs or whatever. But I don't know, as I said, I was kind of lonely, and I didn't know exactly like where to turn. I have a ton of friends in university, and I was kind of looking for like that all-encompassing like social experience, which is really what it was. So it was very like I had a hole because I played high school football, and it was very like part of what I did, even though it was only part of the year. It's like you're with the guys a lot of the time, even when in the off season. So that's how I actually joined. Is that one day I was just like walking through Sub, which is like the Students Union building, and just a guy who I played football with, who like was at like was in the fraternity, invited me out, and I started to hang out with the guys more, and they liked me and I liked them, and then kind of just joined from there, and then my experience kind of just escalated a lot.
And what types of opportunities does it open you up to?
Well, it depends. Like, for example, like just the basic thing is that you like most of the fraternities on campus have like and sororities have like a house, so it's like a cool place to like hang out on the weekends during the school days. There's obviously a lot of alumni who like are in jobs places that can give you advice and possibly get you like interviews and stuff. I know guys have used it to like apply for scholarships and things, and it's just you get experiences from really different like perspectives, like people who I never would have been friends with outside of the fraternity who become some of my best friends. They're really like you just get to experience all different kinds of people, which I really like.
When you're living in that house with the boys, right? Doesn't that interfere with your schooling? How did that come about?
Well, it both interferes and helps. Like obviously there are more distractions, but like in the same sense that like a guy could like come in and be like, oh, let's go do this or what, and be distracting, but it's also like it's super helpful because it's like you're in a house full of guys who are also doing the same thing as you. They also all need to study, so you have designated study areas. It's on campus, so like you can wake up like just like 10 minutes before your exam and just run over there and be prepared as studying the night before. And there's just a lot of resources for guys who have already like taken that class. You're like, oh, I need help with Econ 102, and they're like, okay, well, I just did that class last semester and I got an A- in it, I can help you out and stuff. It's that kind of stuff.
Well, so you guys just merge together, hey, and kind of help each other.
Well, of course, everyone wants everyone to do better. It's just better for the fraternity in general, and also the fraternity has like academic expectations. Like you have like a minimum expected GPA. You have like.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
What's the recommended GPA?
I think like to join it's like 2.5, and to get like initiated it's like 2.5, and then like and then I think like to just like be not on like academic bad standing it's like 2.3. So it's not like the hardest to attain, but it's also not like
still something. It still gives you a guideline.
It's a goal of like it's and also it's like the whole point of the fraternity is that academics come before everything.
What types of people get attracted to frats? Because I know there's like, sure, you guys are different in your own ways, different programs, different personalities, but is there like a common thing that unites all of you guys? Is it?
Honestly, like, I'd say the only common thing that actually like unites the members is like just the passion for it. It's really like not. It's really more different than you think. Like certain fraternities will attract certain more like. Even with us, it's like not. It's not every single type of person, and they'll like certain fraternities will be different. But if you encompass all the fraternities and sororities, it's like every type of person. It's even more like shy, introverted people, extroverted people, like people who like to work out, people who like to do sports, people who are really good at school. Like it's like every single section.
Oh, that's amazing.
I guess the only people it doesn't really attract are people who have like no interest in like being involved on campus at all. Those are the people that are not attracted to it.
Yeah. How do you succeed in a fraternity? How do you feel connected to the people? I mean, certainly it takes some work, right? But are there Like certain things that you need to do, or
just like active involvement.
Just showing up.
Like honestly, it basically is like involved, because the fraternity and sororities in general all have like events and stuff that they do, like philanthropy events. Like they'll throw parties, they'll have their formals, they'll do like fundraisers. They'll all do like official brotherhood events, sisterhood events, like official events. So obviously showing up to those are important, and helping plan those are important. But also just like showing up whenever. Like just like showing up at the house and hanging out for an hour and a half with the guys. That like it's all just about like participation, because it's you totally get out what you put in. Like there's, and just every fraternity and sorority has this, is that there'll be a few people who like just are doing it for their resume, or like show up like once a week to the meeting, and then you're not really getting much out of it. But if you participate more, you develop those relationships more, just as in like hanging out with your friends and stuff.
Right. And how do you deal with someone who enters the frats and they don't really have the same kind of behavior? They're a bit more negative, maybe they don't really show up as much, and it's just not a good person to be around. Have you run into that?
Occasionally. You can generally like, because also it's like the fraternities and sororities, I don't want to like portray like a like idea of like exclusion, because they're not like exclusionary, especially at like U of A and stuff, where hazing isn't a big thing and stuff like that, and Delta Chi doesn't haze, but we don't it's not, but there are like, we do have to like offer them to join. So it's like, if a guy, when you're recruiting people and having events for people to come around, if you can tell this guy is like negative, he's not interested in it for the right reasons, you don't have to like offer him what's called a bid, which is like an invitation to join. Okay. So that's the first like line of defense in like stopping people who aren't joining for the right reasons, or who you don't think would be a good fit.
That's good. Do you guys have any initiations?
Yeah, we do initiate, yes.
Right. What was that for you?
I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Is it like I know in the U.S. they have like those crazy.
Well, I can't tell you what it is.
Yeah, no, yeah. Those are forbidden. Okay, okay. But if you do decide to join Delta Chi, right? There's is it pretty tough though?
I can't tell you what it is.
Okay. Fine.
But it's fun. I liked it.
I know you're very good at maintaining friendships. You know, for the longest time, you've always just been very accepting and understanding. Now, how do you deal with like the constant drama? Because I know being part of a frat, and also in high school, you were with kind of the same group of people, and I know when you're with people a certain amount of time, there's bound to be some drama, right? There's bound to be some. How do you deal with that?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. I try to like avoid drama. Like I definitely am a person who really does not enjoy it.
Yeah, but sometimes you're in it. You know, sometimes
I guess
you kind of have
not
to.
That often.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
right.
It's just I value my friends, and also like you speak often highly of my ability to like maintain friendships, but sometimes it might.
You're great at it, man. You're very forgiving.
I know, but probably overly forgiving, and it probably because I am oftentimes like anxiously attached to people.
Right. Has that come to bite you? Where people just take advantage of your kindness. Maybe
like occasionally. Nothing serious in the sense that like I've forgiven someone and then they've really wronged me. And also because like no one's really like, in my opinion, like wronged me seriously at all.
I feel like
so it's more just like minor arguments, and then I kind of just like it's not worth like arguing with my friend over. This is stupid. Being in like a state of anger or grudge holding towards each other is like totally not what I want at all. So I'm like, well, the resolution to fix that is to apologize. And then I would like, if I'm in the wrong, I would be like, well, that was wrong of me to say or do. And
see, I'm a firm believer that nothing happens by chance, right? And the reason you don't get into fights with your friends or family members, and you don't have these long-term drama, is because you're doing something right.
Yeah. Well, also I'm just I'm not like a conflict starter. Like
you're not. You're very good at kind of diffusing the tension, right? And when you do experience some negativity or a negative interaction, you're quick to jump to a possible solution. I know when Adri and I, we've been friends a long time, but we've gone through some conflict, right? But you've just been very great at minimizing damage, like damage control. Now, can you take me to that thought process and say you wronged someone or someone wronged you, right? How does that work in your head?
Okay, well, if I wrong someone, it's not that difficult actually, because like,
Yeah.
and I don't do that very often, but there's been occasionally where like, in the heat of the moment, I've been upset with someone and maybe said not the nicest thing or something.
Right.
But then very shortly after, like I've calmed down a little bit or like thought about, it's like, well, that wasn't right. Like oftentimes they've said something or like, well, like they were like they said that what I was said was wrong. And it's like, well, they're probably right. That wasn't right of me to say, and this person's my friend, so I just apologize.
You're forgiving. I know that about you.
It's more difficult because when you do something wrong, it's like very simple because it's like, oh, I apologize and I should apologize. It's harder when you think they've done something wrong to you. That's a more difficult situation because you can't. It's hard to like confront someone for an apology because they might not even think they've done something wrong to you, or they might be too stubborn to apologize. So at that point, you kind of just have to like accept it and let it go. Like, that's not to say if they, like, seriously did something bad to you that you should do that, but it's, like, if it's a minor thing, like, I don't.
But you still hold on to that, though. Let's say someone wrongs you.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact that they did that wrong thing.
Yeah.
You can't just go and act like nothing happened, right? And then they're gonna do it this time, they're gonna do it again. Right? So how do you go about that?
I don't know. I think you kind of can go about and just...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, it's sometimes just, like involuntary. Like, it's just... You can, like, go about it. But it's also kind of just, like, at one point you just stop being angry.
Right. I mean...
Like, you just, like, if I'm angry at this person, and eventually it's like, oh, I don't really care anymore. And then you're just, like, there's no point in, like, continuing to be angry because you're just damaging both of yours friendships. Now, if this person's, like, genuinely, like, a person you shouldn't be friends with anymore because they keep doing it. But if they do like one wrong thing, it's not. And also, I don't want to make it seem like people do not like wrong me often at all. Like
they don't, because no, you're just a good person and you know how to control a situation, and you know how to make people feel included, and what's it called? So in the past, I've seen you just flourish too. I've seen person that was a bit low in confidence to grow into this person that's experienced all these things in university, and I've seen you grow. No, what's your secret?
I don't know. I think well, it's also just it's been a long time. Like you and I have been close friends for like what is it, like 8 years now?
Yeah, long time.
That it's like it's not like it's I don't know. I feel like most people since like the middle of grade 10 have changed now that we're that like far distance from it. I don't know. Just
I mean, we knew each other in grade 7?
Yeah, but we didn't become like close friends till like grade 10. And
then, grade bio 20, right?
Yeah.
Adam Lebachmo took my seat. Was it? Megan.
Yeah,
Megan took my seat. I was sitting next to Adam, and then
shout out Megan and Adam.
Yeah, Adri and I would not become friends if
we probably would have become friends.
No, we probably would have. There's no such thing as a coincidence, you know? This is, we had some, there's this, we were dissecting a pig fetus one time, and I still have it.
You still have the pig fetus?
Posted on my story, and man, that picture's iconic. Right up against his face, and he did like this little thing.
I completely stand by that. You like, I made a weird face, but it's because you shoved a pig fetus in my face. I stand by like reacting strangely to that.
But the way the dynamic works too is you and I like we don't really. I don't know. We're different, you know, but we're the same in the same way, right? But the way the dynamic would work in those classes is I would say something really out of pocket. Let's say that, and Adri'd be like,
"Is that where you're gonna go with it?"
Your reaction to me would just be like, "Was that like you?"
Yeah, but I was also like playing up my reaction to you. Like you would say something outrageous, and then I would act like outraged to your reaction.
Oh man, Do you miss the school aspect now that you're an alumni at the ABJ, at the University
Miss
of
like
Alberta?
university or like
Well,
or high school?
everything.
Uh, yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know. I sometimes found school a little like unsatisfying, so I don't really like miss that because it was kind of a lot of the time it was just boring. But I definitely miss like seeing my friends all the time, especially like high school is like not like any other time in your life where you're like almost an adult and you're seeing your friends like for hours every single day, and that's just not how being an adult is.
I know we've talked about the difficulty of maintaining friendships after school, right? And how do you maintain your friendships? I know you're pretty good at that. I know you tell me you're bad, but I know you're pretty good at it.
I don't know, just like talking to people, and I've never been a very good like person at like reaching out. Like I'm never like it never just comes to my mind to be like, oh, text this person like, hey, what's up? Like that's not really been my forte. But I don't know, just like different platforms just of like oftentimes like casual group communication.
Right.
Just like, oh, like hop on the Discord and play some video games with the guys. Oh, you have a group chat. Oh, like especially with the fraternity, it's like you can just stop by the house anytime and there's just always guys there hanging out and you talk to them and stuff. So it's just like, yeah, it's just more like active involvement in like group activities, and then also just active involvement in like real life activities. Like I think like going and being like, hey dude, let's go get lunch is like 10 times more like valuable than like texting someone like, hey, and then having like a good 20 line text conversation. I've always been a big proponent of like talking in person.
Yeah, no, you've always been you've always prioritized the real life stuff.
Yeah, but
I think
it's also just I enjoy it way more. I don't really enjoy texting that much.
Yeah, how did you come about this? Did you just don't feel connected to people when you're texting? Because I know in our generation, people text all the time. Man.
No, I don't.
There's Snap and...
I don't know. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I'm not good at really not good at expressing myself over text.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in like more intense situations. I can't verbalize what I want to say. Or like, that's actually the opposite. I mean, I'm good at verbalizing what I want to say, but texting you have way too much time to overthink. With a conversation, I'm kind of just saying things. I'm not really like, like you think about what you're saying, but you don't have that much time. But with texting, you have all the time in the world to think about what you want to say.
And then you can like get anxious. Because I know...
And also you can't like express vocal inflection. Like if I make a joke, I don't know if that person... Yeah. I immediately know if you like understood the joke that I just said. But it could take minutes, hours if you before like if how long someone opens it or whatever. If you know they got your joke, I don't.
Yeah. That's true.
Or like other things.
If you're making a joke and then they absorb it, or maybe they'll actually take offense to it, right? Then you're in a situation where when you meet up next, it's like, I don't know, that's just you never talk about it, and
but
it's like,
it's not just jokes. It's just like that's just an example. It's like all forms of I think like tone and your facial expressions and like because even like on the phone is a million times better than texting. You can just like kind of better communicate with people.
Right. You've always been good at reading people's behavior, like when their voices and then their eye contact. I know you, I think Adri and I were working out one time, and there's this guy who
last week,
butted in and introduced just asked. No, he didn't even ask if to work in, and he just kind of just started doing dips, right? And you could tell like the tone of my voice. Like I was fine if you didn't know me. You wouldn't have known something was wrong, but you're like Advin. I could tell you were.
Well, it was like well, not pretty angry. But it was just like once your response to when he said that he will be working in, I could tell you weren't pleased with the situation.
Did you take time to develop this, or was it just come natural to you?
I don't know. I guess it went natural. I'm probably better at it than when I was younger, but I've never been like I'm. Because also I don't actually think that I'm that good at reading people. I think I might be decent at like reading like my close friends, but I'm probably not that good at reading like the average person who I don't know very well.
Right. You think about people a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that?
I don't know. I feel
say like ideas. Like what percentage? Is it like you kind of when you think in your thought process?
Okay.
How do you go about your days? Like let's say you're doing your groceries, or maybe when you're studying. Because for me, I think about people like. Probably 80% of the time.
Well, they're like the entire part of the world. They're the most important part of the world. So
I know you made that we had that talk, I think it was last year, you made the connection that there's, all we have are the people, right? Can you expand on that? Like, when you go about your days, right, the connections that you have, I know we talked about this.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just that, like, I think people ask what the meaning of life is, and I think the meaning of life is other people.
Right? Why is that? Why not gaming? Why not, maybe working out?
Well, I mean, you can have, like, smaller passions, but I just think that all the best parts of life come from, like, other people. Like, also, like, for example, gaming, other than, like, I guess single player games, but, like, the best part of, like, gaming for me is, like, playing multiplayer games with my friends, or, like, working out is, like, I like working out with my friends. And even if you're working out alone, you're, like, there's people around you, there's, like, you're building muscle or getting leaner or getting to, like, this is cynical, but to show off to other people, whether it's men or women or whatever. So I just think that, like, your, like, interactions, whether they're, like, your familial relations, your platonic relations with your friends, romantic relationships, those are just the best parts of life. So
no, that's a great insight, man. I think about that a lot. I think when things get tough, right? I mean, when I have these insecurities, when I have these things, when I'm questioning myself, I just think, okay, there's people, man. That's, at the end of the day, the interactions that we've got, those are what make life worth living.
I agree. I totally agree.
What made you realize that? Was it like, did you just come to that conclusion?
I guess I just, like, enjoy. I guess the number one thing I, like, enjoy and get satisfaction in life is, like, interacting with other people. So
how crucial is a support system in your well-being?
It's pretty crucial. I'm fairly, like, good at just kind of handling, I don't know, maybe not.
I know you're really close with your mom.
I guess maybe I underestimate my support system because a lot of the times it's not like I'm not, like, super having deep discussions with my support system, but it really important to have, like, people who I'm close with around me, I guess. So, like, my parents, like, I'm very fortunate to have a very good relationship with my parents, both of them, my mom and my dad, and then I have close friends like you and some of my other friends. And
do you forget this sometimes? Because I know when I get bogged down, man, like when maybe some girl rejected me on the bus. Should I say her name? Should I drop her name? No.
Do you want me to say the name?
No. It was a very tough day, okay? I was having a conversation with this girl on the bus, and halfway through the conversation, she goes, have a good day.
Call her out right now.
But it's all right. But after I went and worked out with Adri, and I felt really bogged down. I felt really insecure, but then I talked to you, man. I just felt I actually felt empowered.
Yeah, because you were going to work out after.
Yeah, working out after, and I got to release that. Now, does that work the same for you when you have your problems, like the negativity? Mm-hmm. How do you deal with it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely good to, like, release that with, like, conversations with other people. I don't know. It also is. I do it through all sorts of things. Like, it's definitely good to just have, like, a direct conversation about it, people. But sometimes it's hard to just, like, talk with people about personal things, and especially if you've got, like, a recurring problem.
Yeah. Like,
I'm not the best at, like, controlling my own emotions. Like, I'm really impressed with, like, when you want to, like, and I'm sure that's it's difficult for you, but you're good. Like, you're really good at being positive all the time. I'm not good at being positive all the time. Not, like, really negative, but, like, if I'm in a bad mood, I can't just make myself feel better.
Are there any tools that you use to make yourself feel better?
Just different things. I mean, like, there's definitely, like, I'm definitely fall victim to, like, doom scrolling and stuff sometimes, and not.
Dude, I get that too, man. And it's like, oh, geez, this.
I know you'll text me, like, on TikTok. You're like, get off TikTok.
I see Adri online on TikTok too many times these days.
And then I'm like, but Advin, shut up, Advin. You're also on TikTok.
How does the gym play a role in your life?
It's good. It's, like, a good hobby that it's, like, it makes me feel better, both, like, mentally and physically, and also it's good because I used to be a lot more passionate about the gym, and then the last kind of year, I really, really got out of it. But the last, like, since I graduated, the last, like, month, I've really gotten back into it. It's become more of my routine, and it's definitely, like, a fun activity that you see friends at and stuff.
Yeah, no, you've gone hard, and I remember back in high school, did you go twice a day? Or you used to go the early mornings in good life?
Yeah, I was actually, it was pretty hardcore. I would like because that was before I could drive, and even when I could drive,
Yeah.
I would there in grade 10, I would like run to Good Life from my house, which it's not that long of a run, but,
Yeah.
and then sometimes I would have gone like, there'd be weekend days where I would go at like noon, and then you would text me at like 4, and then we would go after, but now I'm happy that I have like more of like an adult body, and I can like actually like, I see much better results working out now than I did back then.
I see sometimes you get frustrated when you don't hit that PR, or when you're having an off day.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? How do you bounce back from that?
By
like
hitting it next time. No, I don't know. It's just, well, that's usually only also the beginning of the workout, because it's like, but it's just frustrating to me, because it's like I did that workout last time, and then it like really bothers me that I'm now like slightly weaker, because it's like I put in the work, and then it's like in my mind I've now slightly lost progress even though I've done it. So I don't know. I guess usually just try and work on just being like, you're really good at that. You're kind of just like at peace with you're very strong, but you're very at peace with like, yeah, if you're stronger that day. And I don't know, I guess I just need to look at the bigger picture. And did I cut you off? No.
Do you think this is rational though? Like, do you think this thought process where like, the day before, but the fact that you went to the gym though, isn't that you're in the 1%, man? You know?
More than 1% of people go to the gym.
Is there?
Definitely. That's definitely.
I don't know.
Probably like 20 or 30%.
Yeah, like consistently, like 4 to 5 times.
Probably like 15 then.
Okay.
Although I'm also making that up. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess it's good that I've gone to the gym, but it's also like I need more than that to be satisfied. Like, it's not just like I don't want to just like enter the building. It's like I would like to see progress, and that I can like go on the Stairmaster for longer. I can run farther. I can lift more weight. I'm like leaner and stuff like that. So it's like I want to see more progress, which is a little selfish of me, but
yeah. But at the same time, you have to do what's best for you, so then you could help others better. Because if you're a person that doesn't have confidence, then you're just not able to help others as well, right? So those bad times, and I know we've talked many times about those bad times, the struggle, right? How does it play into your life when you think about those times? Would you change them? Because I know they teach us a lesson.
Like, are you talking about like bad times in my life specifically, that you're like referring to things I've talked to you about, or like
yeah,
or bad times in general for people?
Both.
Okay, I don't know. I guess I've been fortunate that I really have not like. I mean, there's been times where I've been somewhat unhappy, but those are pretty few and far between. I've been really blessed to have a good, happy life, and I really haven't had like serious like problems or bad times. But I don't know. I mean,
it's all subjective, man. I mean, when you're drowning, it doesn't matter if you're in a pool or in an ocean. It's still your problem. I feel like you discredit yourself sometimes. It's not you don't put as much emphasis on it because you are, blessed with this and this. Does that open room up for kind of doubting yourself, or just loss of confidence, or what you feel like you're not good enough because you're feeling these sorts of things and you are blessed to have a good life, right? That like what's the word I'm looking for? Guilt. Like, you shouldn't be feeling that way because you are fortunate.
No, I wouldn't say it's like that. Like, I definitely, like, if I'm feeling kind of bad, I will be sort of, like, selfish and feel, and just, like, I won't be like, I feel guilty because people have it worse than me. It's easier in, like, the good times, because, like, I'm pretty, like, happy now and stuff. And I guess also it's just as you get older, you start to understand, like, your feelings more.
Right.
Like, you understand that, I'm feeling bad about this for this reason, and then it'll eventually go away, and then it's like, I'm feeling good right now for these reasons, or even if I'm just feeling good in general, I know that should be appreciative of that, because when you're a kid you don't like appreciate feeling good.
Right.
Which I think is a big thing I really enjoy about being an adult, is I can be like, my brain's giving me dopamine right now, I should enjoy that.
Yeah. Do you see a therapist, if you don't mind
I
asking?
do see a therapist, yes.
Yeah, and how does that play into your life?
She's awesome. It was really, really helpful. I really wasn't like feeling good about things in my life right when I started seeing her, and I was able to kind of like talk through everything, and I definitely felt a lot better. And then she's like I've been with her for a while now, so like we know each other, or at least I don't know. I mean, she knows me quite well, so I don't know. It's really helped. I'm definitely glad I still go see her. And now that my life is a lot more kind of calm, I don't have as much to talk about, but it's nice to kind of just go every once in a while and just discuss things that have happened, and then how I should like feel or think about them. Because it's mostly helped just kind of like having someone to like really listen to what I have to say, and then every once in a while she's really helped me make some like important decisions.
And what are the tools that she's given you to combat the negativity and then the doubt or the shame? What like practices, maybe like meditation, or just that self-talk, or the fact of you going in there, is that the help itself?
Yeah, definitely going in itself. I guess I'd probably say like the biggest help she's given me is that oftentimes I'm really like, I can get anxious about things. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the times what the best tool she's given me is just kind of the idea of like, what's the worst case scenario?
Right. Can you give me an example?
Okay, like oftentimes it's like, let's say I'm like nervous to like text someone or something, but for whatever, whether it's a girl or one of my friends, because I'm asking them, so like it's just anyone. She's just like, okay, well, like what's the worst case scenario if you text this person? And when I think about it, it's always like the worst case scenario is not bad at all.
Right.
And like what the realistic scenario, which I know is probably going to happen, is much better than that. So it's just once you kind of think instead of just being anxious about things, like you can just like think exactly what's the best case, what's the worst case, and it's always better than what you think it's going to be.
Yeah. The rejection, right? I think it comes down to that, where it's like, okay, worst case scenario, they don't respond back.
Yeah.
You feel rejected. Now, how do you kind of justify that in your head? Does it get personal though? Is that kind of...
Honestly, I guess it's actually, I don't even care about like rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not like just with a random person. It's like, okay, I don't care. Mm-hmm. But it's more like as someone who I become more familiar with, like if I'm medium close with them, I'm more scared about like and anxious, because it's just I'm more like, well, they like know the more I put all this effort in, which I know is like sunk cost, which is like you can't think about it like that. Right. But it's like I put all this effort into this person, and then they know more about me, so it's like it hurts more if like they're not,
right,
if whatever outcome I want doesn't occur.
Right. No, I feel that way.
But just for like generic rejection, I don't care.
Yeah. Like when you put in so much effort into whether it be a friendship, whether it be a girl, or even like a family member, and when they don't return the favor, right, it's like, what's wrong? And then you start questioning it, and you're like, is it because of this? Because of that? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's all these things, right, that it could be a million different things, and you have these mental battles, right? And at the end of the day, right, you might never know why they didn't respond, or why they want to cut off the friendship or relationship, right? But it's like just accepting that, right? How do you come about that though? Do you just go one day, okay, I accept it, or they're like, do you have to really battle it out in your mind, like maybe some philosophy, or does it come over time? Yeah,
you just accept it. I don't know. It's not actually that difficult for me to like accept it in the afterwards. It's more the anxiety that comes before. Right. And then like just in everything, like applying for a job, really things in life, and then that anxiety leads to procrastination. So that's really where like I struggle with. It's like, oh, I can procrastinate facing this.
Right.
and then which is bad. But then once it's actually occurred, I can generally accept the outcome.
Right, but you got to face it though.
Yeah,
one way or another.
Facing it's the tough part.
You find. Oh, go ahead.
Accepting I find isn't super hard, but it's like facing whatever you're anxious about is the hard part.
But don't you find that prolonging this just makes you more anxious?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I totally agree.
Like,
yes.
why do you think we keep doing this? Like, why? Like I'm the same way. Where it's like I don't want to do something, and actually I got a midterm on Friday. I love podcasting, man. But you keep putting it off because I'm just so anxious about it, and it's like a common occurrence, and it's just like I know I'm not alone in this. We're not alone in this. Like, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I guess it's just like it's
right.
Even though procrastinating causes you more anxiety, it's easier in that exact moment to procrastinate than it is to do the thing that you're anxious about. But then obviously once you do that thing, then the anxiety goes away. So it's like much better. But
it's just so relief.
But it's like in that, and also not just relief of having the anxiety back, but it's also like it's very possible you get the outcome you want.
True. So what do you do when you don't want to do the things that you need to do, but you're gonna need to do the things that you need? What do you do then? Right? Like
that's something I'm not that good at, honestly. A lot of the time, sometimes my motivational flip, which I know is, as you've talked about in previous podcasts, isn't something you can rely on, which I know is that motivation just comes and goes unless you're like a superhuman and you're just motivated all the time. But and then also eventually sometimes it like where certain things you can't procrastinate anymore. Like you comes to the point where it's like, oh, it's the night before my midterm, I can't procrastinate. like you lose the option to so then it actually becomes easy to do because you don't have another choice. You just have the one binary. That's not binary, like mono choice.
Do you remember any exact situation, like whether it be for school or a task that you need to do that you had to do it or face the consequences, and the consequences are heavy?
Well, there's definitely been a bunch of like tests and stuff where it's like a week before I'm like, okay, I'll study for 3 days before this, and I guess the third day, and then I like don't do anything on the third day before, and then this is like 2 days to it, and then I end up like not doing it the second day, and I study for like an hour at the end of the night, and then I'm like, okay, well, damn, I can't, I put myself in this bad position, now I really have to do it. Or like a lot of times with texting people, I like see that someone has texted me, and then I procrastinate responding, and then it's like, oh, well, they texted me 10 minutes ago, they texted me 45 minutes ago, they texted me 2 hours ago, and then eventually it's like, oh, well, it was like 8 hours ago, I kind of have to text them like now, and then even now it's bad and it's like.
But then you have to realize you're not alone in this though. We're all like struggling with something, right? Whether it be, I know for me, studying is one thing. It's just like I always prolong it, and it's just like never content with sometimes. Like sometimes I like lack of peace, right? It's like that's why I meditate. It's why I pray. Yeah. But where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I don't know. I'm still friends with you, I guess. But seriously, I'd hopefully like into my career.
Right.
Like I don't know if I need to jump into my career. I don't know if I want to do potentially more school or immediately jump into working. And it's possible I could change careers in that time. But I don't know. I guess just hopefully like into my career, and I guess talking personally, at least have like obviously I'm sure we will be friends, but have some of my old friends, and then I'm sure I have made some new friends, and then probably like hopefully married, I'd say, because I'm 22 right now. I guess I'd like to be married by the time I'm 32, maybe even have a kid or something.
Yeah, that's some good goals.
Yeah.
You're a person that's just I always knew you seem like you always knew what you were doing. You're just like...
Well, no one really knows what they're doing.
Nobody really knows what they're doing, but you just had an outline. Like, you knew... Like, for me, I was very short-term individual, and then I indulged in my alcohol.
You were short-term on the long-term podcast.
I was very short-term back then, but now I'm long-term. You're a person that just, like... Well, nobody's perfect, right? And we've talked about that. and it seemed like you hopped from one next to the other, and you kind of knew what you were doing. You had a guideline.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was there any role models or any people in your life that kind of directed that?
Definitely like my mom. I always stand by that, like, that as if you're just a good person, like, good things will happen to you. Like, just continuing to be like a good person to others and doing good things, that stuff will kind of like fall into place. But definitely my mom, like, she was very like, didn't have, I don't know how to put this, but like, she wasn't like, she didn't have like a directed plan for her by her parents. Like, she kind of just went out and did her own thing and made her own way, and then, but she was always very helpful, and then she's like, well, you should probably do this, and you should probably like do the course, you should probably go to university, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, like, that's, and just stuff kind of, the other parts of my life just kind of like fell into place. Like, I didn't really like try to get them there. Like, when I joined football, I don't even know why I really, like, I'm glad I did, but it was kind of just like, I feel like spur of the moment. The fraternity I just joined, kind of like, I randomly met one of the guys, just happened to run into him, and I joined like that, and
Yeah.
it seems like things have kind of just fallen into place in my life, which I'm very grateful for.
Where did that stem from? You mentioned that good things happen to good people, and every day if you just do good in the world, is there a foundation to that, or did your mom just teach you that? Where did that stem from?
I don't know, I guess it's just, I like to consider myself a good person, and then just, I feel like it logically kind of makes sense, in the sense that first off, it comes from, I don't like having conflict. Like, why would I want to like do other people wrong? It hurts them, and it would hurt me, and and then from that, other good things happen. Like, people like you, like, people want to include you in things, people want, and just, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of how life has been for me.
Right.
And I've had like just good people around me. All my parents are both good people. My friends have always like led me in the right path.
Yeah. Do you actively seek it? Like, every day when you wake up, right? Do you go, I'm gonna be good today?
Probably not as much as I should. I feel
Right.
like that sometimes that might be on the back burner. Like, I feel like I kind of just like be like, oh, I want to be. I probably don't think about, in the sense that, what could I do to be good today, as much as I should. But
Right. Yeah. How does faith play a role in your life?
It's played different roles in my life. So, I mean, I definitely, I was probably more religious back in high school. Like, I would say that I'm Catholic, but it's not super like practicing devout. Like, I don't really go to church very often, and I pray occasionally, but it's definitely like an important part of my life, and I always planned that it would be more of an important part of my life. I should probably take more time to devote to it, but it's definitely like a core part of who I am.
Right.
That, like, me being like Catholic, just as you, it's like a core part.
Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily to follow it strictly, right? As long as you're a good person, you put good in the world.
Yeah.
And I know my favorite psychologist, Paul Conti, has this meaning of generative, where it's adding to the world of value within anything and building something. And then the opposite of that is destruction, right? Where you're like, in the latter is so much easier, man. Like, it's so much easier to destroy things. Like, when you just judge people, and when you tear other people down, or you focus on the negativity, right? It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
But like, when it's positive, it's so much harder. Like, building something right from the ground up, and then it takes like seconds to boom, it's all gone.
Yeah.
How do you, when you go through such debilitating things, right? And you're like, and that's subjective, right? Who do you go to? I know I already said this about the support system, but like, I want to kind of discuss that deeper. And in your thought process, right, whether it be your mom or your dad, like, do they know what to say. Like, I feel like...
Yeah, generally, oftentimes it's like you or my mom, my therapist helps a lot. But also, like, I'm fairly good at, like, thinking things out a lot of the time. So it depends what kind of thing it is. Like, if it's, like, a problem that needs to get solved, a lot of the times, like, I know, like, I'm able to, like, kind of figure out what the solution is. Right. So sometimes I just, like, think it out myself. And if it's just kind of like a more like the way it is thing, I might go to someone. Sometimes I do have a problem of like internalizing things. Like some things I should talk out with people, I don't want to like bother them with. So sometimes I just deal with it by myself, which maybe isn't the healthiest thing. But
what would you tell to someone who is struggling with these issues, like anxiety, depression, or like low self-esteem? Let's say it's their first year in uni and they don't know what to do, or going through some hardship.
I guess definitely like maybe like don't put all your eggs in one basket. In the that doesn't really make sense, but it.
No, it makes sense. Like don't attach yourself to an identity too much, right? You gotta look for things.
Not exactly. I guess, okay, if you're talking like university-wise, but what I more meant by that was like, don't rely solely, like definitely like reach out for help if you're struggling with things like that, but don't do it in one place. Mm-hmm. Don't be like, Advin, you will be the only person I will ever talk to about any problems that I have, and I need to rely on you solely. That's not realistic for you.
No, it's not.
And that also you wouldn't be able to help with everything, just as I wouldn't be able to help with everything for you. So I definitely think you should like talk to some things with your parents, talk to some things with your friends, and if you feel like you would want to, go see like a psychologist and talk to some things about them. Think about like how you can solve some of these. Like I feel like helping, like trying to figure out and solve your problems and feel better in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, no, that's some good advice, man. And I it's almost an hour. And
almost an hour.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all of what I wanted to ask you. And I didn't have time, or did the memories in university. I wanted to ask you about like your favorite memories in the frat or.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't. Not every one of them is PG, but.
Not every frat.
But.
Right.
But most of them are like, honestly, like a lot of the times just having like a family or like a brotherhood dinner, and stuff, or like just like hanging out at the house. Like one of my favorite memories was this most recent year, in the sense that there was a time where there were like just 4 different groups of people hanging out in different parts of the house, which isn't like, usually it's like one maybe like group on the main floor or something, but it's like there were people like talking on the second floor, and there were people watching a movie, and I was studying, and then my other friends, a couple of the guys were like playing like golf with ping pong balls around the house. Like it was just like randomness, or like doing Secret Santas, or like having like the fantasy hockey league, stuff like that. Just very, I like it a lot because it's a lot. It makes you a family. Yeah. And that's one thing I've really started to appreciate about family, in the sense that family's kind of interesting because you don't pick it, which is kind of how the fraternity is. It's kind of people come to you, and almost everyone's just like welcomed in. Wow. And then like, but they're not exactly your type of people, which is good, in the sense that you are bonded by this thing that's beyond friendship. Like your brothers first, or in a sorority, your sisters first. So then it's like, and I like that idea that you're like, you don't pick your family, so it's not reliant on just your friendship. Because it's like, friends can have an argument and leave, but you can't leave your family. No. So that's how I kind of view the fraternity.
You're bonded to them then forever.
Yeah, so it's like you might have spats with them, or you might argue or get upset or whatever, but it's like, it's not just like your friendship's over. Because even if like you're not friends at that moment, you're still brothers, whether or not you like want to be friends with them.
You're tied to them.
And I feel like that's how our relationship has basically become.
Yeah, bro. That's the beauty of it. Because this podcast, what I just want to reinforce is no one is alone, right? There's all these struggles, and while there may be seemingly perfect people, they could be going through some tough times, man. We don't know, because looks are very deceiving. Like, it's just, you don't truly know what other people are going through.
That's true.
And having that family, having those good group of people in your life, they're the ones that take us to the top. You know what I mean? With all these things going on, right? There's all these different responsibilities, different aspirations. We're constantly competing with each other. There's money involved, right? There's our status. I mean, at the end of the day, strip all that off. Really, at the end of the day, it's just you and I. It's just
There's no one
family.
else.
It's the family there, man. It's the brotherhood. It's man, that's you have been such a help in my life. Like, you've been there for me when at my lowest, bro. Okay, you've seen me change, man. And
well, yeah, I mean, in the way that you've seen me change, I've also seen you change.
Yeah, and it's like a support system, and I support you, you support me, and whether my success is your success, and I've always just wanted, like, the moment I discovered that, because I used to kind of, like, sure, I was good with people, but I always hid something from them, right? Whether it be my insecurities, whether it be, like, things that I was good at, like, I didn't want to show them too much, because I didn't want to let them get better at me, but as soon as I discovered that, sharing this one thing is actually very beneficial, right? Whether it be about working out, whether it be at podcasting, whether it be like information about psychology, dopamine, stocks. I just get so passionate about it and tell everyone like what or how to do it, and saying my enthusiasm gets them even more enthused. Right?
I'm amazed at your ability to like get people interested in your interest. It's crazy. Like people are always talking to me about, like, Adam's like telling me about long term and stuff.
Long term, bro. Keep it long term. I mean,
it's the next generation of like, Addy, we have to hit the gym together.
But yeah, guys, this is Adri Plaizier, one of my best friends. And do you have anything to say? Last words to the viewers, listeners, Adri?
I just want to say thank you for having me on. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I definitely did. And keep it long term. Peace.
Keep it long term. Pray for peace.
That's good. Thanks.